Watch out now.
Hi, everybody. This is Kier McCann, and this is 10 Years of the Stand. Joining me in studio today, my guest. He is a world-class stand-up comedian, actor, producer, Mr. Jim Gaffigan.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure having you here.
Surely.
This morning, I was in bed, and I was dreaming. I mean, I know we haven't met, and you don't know who I am.
But I was dreaming about you, too.
I was having a little dream about you, but I don't know if I was in a deep sleep or not, but it was about you and I.
Making love?
Not that. We were in a car together. We were coming here to have this interview, and I get in the car, and you look at me, and you just say, I want to talk about sweatpants.
That's interesting.
And I turn to you, and I say, well, Jim, you're probably one guy who can talk about sweatpants for about an hour.
Yeah, no, they're, that's an interesting assignment, sweatpants, right?
Yeah.
You know, stand-up is a self-assignment, so, you know, I mean, I don't have anything on sweatpants, but I could talk about sweatpants.
Well,
that's weird.
I think that's the point of
Now it's called leisure wear.
Maybe that's the point of my internal thinking of that. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm going to interview a guy who can really take something so small and make it something so big with your stand-up and the way you
thanks.
approach
it's either
a
that
subject.
or deal with your emotions, right? It's good to distract from the problems of life.
Yeah.
But, no, there is something very odd. I mean, I think human behavior is pretty odd. Mm-hmm. Like the fact that we wear sweatpants. Now I'm only going to talk about sweatpants.
I hope you do.
Like, well, let me
swear to
ask you
God.
this. When you are on a long flight, do you wear sweatpants?
When I was on my long flight out here, yes, I wore sweatpants.
See, that's interesting.
It's comfortable, but yet the sweatpants I was wearing at the time flying out here were very thin, so the seat became uncomfortable after time.
Right. Well, there is also, you know, there's the balancing act of comfort and then also looking like you're wearing sweatpants. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's the weird thing about, I mean, we all just want to exist in sweatpants.
Right. What do sweatpants really say? They say you're just like, you know what?
They say you didn't shower.
And they say I got nothing going on.
Right.
Sometimes.
Or you're just that comfortable. It is weird, some of those flights where they give you pajamas.
Yeah.
And people go and change into pajamas.
Yeah.
You're like, don't do that, people. You know, we don't even put on the slippers. Like, who are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
But these are longer flights.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Obviously, the one thing I wanted to lead off is that watching you perform stand-up, obviously you've been around for a really long time. You began in the early 90s. You actually took quite a few years, correct me if I'm wrong, to find your voice.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. Yeah, I would say, I wouldn't say that it's that unusual. It's interesting.
It's not unusual.
Whenever I do interviews, there's always kind of like, all right, what article did he read?
I just went straight wiki, Jim. I went
No,
straight wiki.
the Wikipedia thing is, people are like, you're from Elgin, Illinois. And I'm like, oh, I was born there, but I never lived a day there. But, yeah, I mean, it's so odd having done it for so long. But that was a huge crisis, was finding out what works and transferring that, you know,
Do you
comedic
attribute that to
personality.
just obviously you being new at stand-up and your eagerness to do it, but also being young and going, you know, I don't really know what kind of person I am inside yet, or what I feel comfortable presenting to people?
I think there is, I mean, I'm going to say some contradictory things, but I think that comedians, it's really important to, you know, pursue authenticity, but it's also, I think most comedians have identity issues. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit of the volumes turned up in everything they do, whether they're super outspoken or they're, you know, do a super nerdy take, or they're a woman that is filthy. You know, it's kind of like there's a highlighter to these attributes that they have. But, you know, finding your voice or whatever, it does take time. But I think I also dealt with an enormous amount of stage fright, probably like an unusual level of stage fright.
Paralyzing thought, screwing up type of.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I have teenagers, and just like I think the dose of anxiety that my kids don't even have that bad of anxiety, but like it reminds me of like when I was younger, there was a lot of anxiety that I dealt with in performing. Like I think that so getting your sense of humor on stage and making it work in front of different audiences is a unique challenge. But I also think, I'm a 90s comic, and we talk about there's a subgenre of stand-up that's very much roast, independent of that, because obviously that is a unique art form and it's a unique appealing thing for people. But I think that in the early 90s, stand-up was much more of combat.
Aggressive,
than it is today. And so
kind of matched the music and the culture at the time.
Yeah, I think there was something, and it's weird. I see glimpses of it maybe in the like you go to the English are so weird because like half of them are like I'm exaggerating. Half of them are skinheads and half of them are like Hugh Grant. You know what I mean? So and each of them is authentic.
Yeah.
But I think that the U.S., particularly New York City, used to be much more combat. That's why you had, it was material was the king, and people, people should evaluate the material, not the individual. And you see that in performers of that 90s, whether it be Dave
Talk
Attell.
about New York and why you live here. You have a large family, but you still maintain that New York City is the place I need to be.
Yeah, I think that.
What is it about New York City?
I think there's an energy there. I think I'm like virtually on the edge of falling asleep constantly in my life, so I need the energy of New York.
Yeah, yeah.
I think there's a forced diversity in New York that I think is really healthy.
Yes.
So there is.
I think everybody, around this country should come here, maybe make a pilgrimage to here. It just the diversity in New York City.
And by the way, even as divided as the U.S. is now, on which is different from like the social or racial differences that have not disappeared, but were probably more pronounced. You still have to get on the subway with people that you probably don't have anything in common with.
Right.
And it's not only that.
To. Yeah.
You know what I mean? There is New York. I think that's really an equalizing force. And also people that live here, you can't exist in a complete bubble. Even though I'm saying that in New York City, and New York City has the highest percentage of millionaires and all this, there is something about New York that, there's, we can go through different clubs and the personalities of the clubs, but you're going to get, there's not a super upper class comedy experience that you're going to have, in my opinion.
Talk about the New York comedy scene. I mean, are you a creature of habit? I mean, you obviously live, so when you're home writing with your wife, because you write with your wife, right?
Yeah, I mean, see, that's...
Is that another thing?
Is that old Wikipedia?
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I would say I don't want to discount her contribution, but there's been... And she definitely was a heavy writing partner, and we definitely wrote my show together. But I'd say the past 4 specials, we haven't had the opportunity. That's not to say that she doesn't have input,
right?
But there's also something of, I want to be real about it. You know what I mean? Right. And I feel like, but I understand that's a very unique talking point.
Well, here's the thing, though. Also, when you're home and you're living in NYC and you're writing some material for, some special you're going to put together and you're going to be in.
Yeah.
Is it cool because you're here in New York City to write some material and be like, you know what, I can pop downstairs
absolutely.
and go to the Stand and try this out.
Yes, I mean, I usually I work at the Stand and I work at Gotham, and that's pretty exclusively where I perform. I will do shows other places, but some of that is convenience and the relationship that I have with these clubs. It's like I do know that.
What is different with those clubs?
Well, I would say, I mean, look, Adele and Joe at the Stand are, and I kind of tell them, I'm like, I hope they're compensated because it's a rarity. And I feel that way about Gotham too. Some of it is, you can tell that it's a reflection of the management style, kind of. You can tell that the Stand was constructed, from my opinion, and I don't know the proof, but like I would say, somebody that wants quality and knows that detailing is involved in quality. So there's not just some, Adele and Joe are not some figurehead or someone on an ego trip. It's somebody that cares about their job. But, back to your question, that convenience of walking. And, the weird thing is having done stand-up as long as I have, because I do have 5 children, and I do have to, it's, my contribution is insignificant probably compared to my wife's, but going home when I'm in town and being this additional defensive player in the role of parenting is pretty vital. So I can go into the Stand, do a spot, and be home and still kind of take screens and encourage people to shower.
You
stuff
got a
like
lot
that.
on your plate. Yeah, I mean, you look at your, obviously you go online and you look at your resume and all these films and TV work, things you produce, the writing, the 1 hour specials. I'm like, where do you find the time?
Well, it's fun.
Is it still? I mean, even doing it's just a working like muscle. You just like it's like an itch. You gotta.
Well, stand-up comedy is so unique in that the entertainment industry is, we know what it is. You know what I mean? But there is probably the closest form of meritocracy exists in stand-up. You either go on stage and it works or it doesn't. And there's that immediate feedback, whereas opposed to acting or writing, which I enjoy, and but stand-up, I can come up with an idea, go on at the Stand, and get that feedback then.
Is stand-up comedy, would you consider it one of the more difficult things to do in entertainment?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, I look at musicians with a certain awe.
Although they get the song down and then they go play, and it's like, you know what, we've done that before.
It is, stand-up is this conversation. There's no fourth wall, whereas a musician doesn't really even have to be looking at the audience, right?
Right.
So,
and it is just you out there.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm not a musician, so I don't really feel qualified to talk about that. I don't know. I've been doing stand-up so long.
Yeah.
For me, it's about the creative buzz more than anything. Creative fulfillment, as corny as that sounds.
I want to. You just said creative buzz, and Chris and I were having these rides back and forth. Now that I'm doing these interview things for him. Yeah. And he told me a story last night, which was something I kind of remember too. But when they had the original Stand, the smaller Stand, and you would make a call and be like, "Hey, can I pop in?" and they fill you in, and you're standing, because that was a very small room. What is it, 150 people or something that fit in that room?
85.
85. So you were standing behind that curtain, and then they would pronounce your name, and the place would go bonkers, crazy. What was that like for you? Is that cool, hearing a roar in such a small place? This energy, does that really does that do something for you, as opposed to writing an hour special and going to perform in a theater? Is there a different?
Oh, it's definitely there's situational experiences, but Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would be lying if I said that, the praise from strangers isn't nice. I mean,
What about a quaint, small, room? Is that a different energy than a theater?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And there's an intimacy which is really important for stand up that I think gets lost as it gets bigger. But there's also something about making a big room kind of rumble that's pretty powerful.
Fuck. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So but there's different skill sets. I mean, the weird thing is I tour with Ted Alexandro, and all
Great
comedians
comedian,
talk
yeah.
about is comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And there is something about this cycle of the experience where you're like, oh, that joke works great. Oh, that joke didn't work as it did the time before. And then, oh, that joke, is it going to survive? And some of it is the craftsmanship of making it survive, figuring it out, and then putting it in this larger show that is really, it's that kind of journey through it that is more fun than I think even that applause of walking on stage. Because I'm a cynic, so when people say I'm a big fan, I assume they're lying. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I just assume that they're not being malicious. That's, in the entertainment industry, that's kind of what people should say.
Hey, Jim, you're great. I don't really buy that.
It's...
You don't believe them. That's crazy.
I mean, there's enough comedians that if you say that to, you'll win them over completely. You know what I mean? Because people like people that like them.
Yeah.
So the way an audience greets you is nice, but it's also information points. Unlike, all right, if they're too excited, that's also scary. Because if they're too excited, are they or you look at the demographic? Oh, they just want me to do bacon jokes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there's the audience doesn't realize they want new material, but I think instinctively they'd want to hear old material.
Yeah, you are one of those guys. It's like I watch you. It's like I was watching your Comedy Monster just recently, and I was like, it's just effortless. It's just effortless. And I was like, how does he get to this point? Is he thinking about his mannerisms on stage? How do you perfect that? Or is it just you get this inner comfortability inside, and you're just like, man, I'm Jim. Here I am. I'm comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm somebody who, there's some people that don't really have to work hard. I think that I'm somebody that has to work hard. You know what I mean?
It doesn't come across, though.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's, like even my short-term memory, I'm kind of, before I'm going on stage, I'm usually looking at what I can or should be trying. But, I think that I definitely, and I try and communicate this to my children. I'm like, I have to work harder than people because I'm dumb. I don't know if I'm either the smartest dumb guy or the dumbest smart guy.
No, there's brilliance in what you do.
Oh, well,
it's
thanks.
like how Kanye always tells himself he's a genius. I mean, you don't say that. But people watching the comfortability and the way you deliver jokes with ease, that's a brilliance. Right?
Oh, well, thanks. Well, I've been doing it a long time.
I gave you a nice compliment there.
There you go. No, I don't trust it.
Do you mentor? Do you pull young comedians aside ever and give them a little advice? Is that something?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been, I think having gone through this experience, there is some importance in kind of, with comedians, I think acknowledgement is pretty important.
Yes.
And so, but there is also, a factor of, it's weird. I mean, I'm not, I'm not trying to. There comes a point when you're kind of confronted with, do you want to have your own label? Do you want to do this or that? Do you want to, do you want an empire?
Right.
And I think that the entertainment industry has kind of taught me that if I ever pursue anything for my ego, it'll backfire. So even working on the show I had, it was great, but it's also just, it's like my ego doesn't need that much authority. So in other words, but to answer your question, I would say I do think that like-minded comedians, it's the acknowledgement is probably more important. I mean, I think
There must have been somebody like that
yeah,
for you.
Dave Attell was
Dave
a
Attell,
huge
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Him acknowledging that I was funny was, a primary credit.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, I think it might have been on the wiki.
Yeah.
It might have said that maybe you were quoted saying that David Tell thought I was the only. He was the only one that thought I was funny.
Right.
As a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
The weird thing is like, look, there's, and it's not just Wikipedia. It's all generally, articles that are written about you. I'm not going to try and make it some grand conspiracy, but the more hyperbolic they can make it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was the worst comedian, and then he was the best. But I would say, was I bad? Yeah. I mean, I had enormous stage fright.
Yeah.
So
And also, I think it. I'll go back to the wiki.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, or the wiki's wrong. You tried to be like an angry approach, like to be the angry guy. Is that true?
I tried. Yeah, I used to smoke on stage.
Really?
Yeah.
Get outta here.
I tried being very political, and some of it is.
I would love to watch those old tapes if they were around.
It's about authenticity, which is really, you end up being what you're supposed to be like. So even like people that are comedians that are highly political, they might not be super political off stage, but they definitely have a passion for it. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they're sitting there going, oh, I need to come up with political material. It's like, that's what comes out.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think comedians get a lot of credit and criticism for doing what they would normally do.
Right. You were in a movie called A Great New Wonderful, and it was about a post 9/11.
Yes.
Being a person who was here during 9/11.
Yeah.
Talk about what doing stand-up comedy here in New York City post 9/11 was like.
Yeah, well, you have to understand that, 9/11 was supposed to be before the pandemic, and as a New Yorker, it was this, I mean, I think it changed New York City. I think it changed the country so much.
Yeah.
But there was something about 9/11 where I think on 9/13, the 13th, I was with my girlfriend, who's now my wife, in her apartment with her sister and all these people, and I was like, I'm going to go and do a show. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I went to the subway, and I ran into Greg Giraldo. Mm-hmm. And there is something about, I don't think it's necessarily a compliment to comedians that have to get back out there. I don't think it's like, oh, we need to fight for freedom or freedom of speech. It's like, I think these people are like, I can't be around those normies.
Yeah, normies, yeah.
Or I need to get that endorphin rush, whether it be feedback from an audience or feedback on a joke. But yeah, it's weird because I think that, that did inform a lot of things, but I also think the pandemic, probably had an incredible effect that we're still kind of processing now.
Right, yeah.
So.
Well, Jim, it was a pleasure having you down
so much.
here. Thank you for
Appreciate
giving us
it.
your time, and best of luck with everything in the future.
Thanks so much.
Jim Gaffigan, everybody.
Thank you.